Operación Triunfo takes part there, will decide their Eurovision song this coming Sunday. Spain, of course, is a member of the Big Five. They've participated 58 times, won twice, in 1968 with La 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 with María, of course, and 1969 with Vivo Cantando with Salome, 4-way tie with the UK, France, and the Netherlands back in 69. Spain have chosen Operación Triunfo to pick their singers 2002 through 2004, and of course now have chosen to do it again the last few years. Last year, María Alfred represented Spain, finished disappointingly 23rd with 61 points, despite being one of the so-called favourites going into the contest. So, Tristan, coming back to you, what songs within Spain should we look out for this year?
Right, I mean, there is a standout favourite. It's also, the fans really like it as well, but it's María, Muérdeme, which means bite me. It's really, really fun song. Lyrics are, unfortunately, a lot of people won't understand the lyrics, but they're a bit naughty. It's, you're not the first one to bite me there. You're not the first wolf I've ever had. Your lambskin isn't fooling me because I'm not a beginner. It's great fun. It's going to remind people a lot of what Spain could have had last year, which was Lo Malo by Ana Guerra and Amaya, which turned out to be a huge success in Spain and in Latin America after the competition. That's the one that really should have won for Spain. And it's going to remind people of that. It's the same sort of Latin-y vibe. It's the same sort of sexiness on stage with a little bit of urban cool. That's my favourite. My second favourite, mainly because of her amazing voice, is Natalia, La Clave, the key. It's slightly less Latin-y than the other. A very Latin feel throughout most of the Spanish songs this year. The lyrics a little bit naff. Only you are the key, even though you don't know it. Stuff like that. It's a bit naff, but it's a really, really fantastic voice. I mean, she's got probably the best voice I think in the whole competition. As for who will win, if it's not María, obviously famous. If he Operación Triunfo, which is a separate competition, sort of like Big Brother style or Fame Academy style, to choose who wins that actual competition. He won it. He hasn't got the best song, which is a shame because he deserved to have a far better song being the winner. But unfortunately, the songs and the singers were all coupled up long before, months ago, before they even realised that he would win. But what's a real shame, because Famous absolutely loves the Eurovision Song Contest. He said he's the one who said all along he really wants to go. He did in the Operación Triunfo one week. He actually did a version of César Sampson's German song. Won that week, Gala, and even César Sampson even went on YouTube saying how great it was and how honoured he was that Famous did a version. It would have been great. It would be great if Spain brings Famous, but it looks like probably in the end, the fans will go for Muérdeme, and it's a great song. It really should win. I think Spain, they've gone for a real Latin feel this year, and in the past that's worked quite well for Spain. Obviously, David Civera and people like that have got good results in the past when they've gone for a real Latin flavoured song. And I think this year Spain could do, if they go for Muérdeme, they could do very well indeed.
And Joanne, do you concur with Tristan's view on Spain having a successful 2019?
Yeah, I think he's right. I think María is likely to win. I'm not as big a fan of the song, I have to say. I've actually I like Famous only because of the fact that the song sort of takes me back a little bit to Spain in the 80s and in the 90s a little bit. And also I love Miki and Venda, just because it's catchy and you can go around and, yeah, you know, sort of, I suppose it just is a bit of an earworm, just the chorus part. But I do think Maria's going to win, I have to say. As I said, I'm not a massive fan of the song. I don't particularly think she's got that strong a voice. I don't know, maybe it's just me. But she's a little bit weaker, and whether it's just her quality or anything, I don't know. But even on that mini sort of clip, I just thought that she was a little bit weak, and I would worry about her in live. but whereas Famous, I think, would just get the staging right, become a showman, and just go out there and do it. Really, it's a difficult one. I'll say Famous for him.
And Martin?
Well, I think it's a shame that the two of the best singers actually in the whole OT process have got not particularly, as people have been saying, Famous and Natalia. I think they could, if they had far better songs, they would be far and away out in front, because they are the best singers there. The other singer that didn't even make it to this competition, even though she was one of the top 3 in the main process, was Alba Reche. I don't know how to pronounce her name, and so that was a shock that she wasn't in the 10. The one I would go for, just purely because it's fairly old school Spain, single female soloist powering out power ballad, would be Noelia. I can't pronounce, and I'm not very good at Spanish, but hers sounds like a traditional bit Ruth Lorenzo, Pastora, Soler, that style of song, and that would be something different to a lot of the Latin type things. And she was doing quite well. She wasn't first in the ratings, but she was sort of in the top 3 with the public. So that could do quite well if people want something different. So, but I must admit, I'm not a great fan of most of them, to be honest. So.
And Open, have you got any favourites in the Spanish final?
Yeah, for me, there's 2 people stand out: Marta Vuelve and Carlos Wright Nunca Fui. However, I had Noelia as my 3rd. Exactly had the same comment: Pastora Soler style powerhouse voice. It's so powerful. It's, you can feel when she sings, Noelia sings, you can feel the volume in her voice. It's just, it reaches out, it touches you. However, my favorite by mile most probably would be Marta. It's such a perfectly Spanish song. The vocal, the melody, the feeling, the passion, it's just on point. And if I would be Spanish, I would feel proud that song would represent me. And also Nunca Fui, Carlos Wright, I really felt the song. It's soft, but it's heavy. It's not crying out loud, but still makes your heart go like, you know what I'm like it makes you feel something, even though it's not like, yelling at you like how his heart was broken and stuff.
And Tom?
Do you know what? Open stole my thunder, because that's exactly what I came up with. Marta being the top one for me. I love that song. It's brilliant. The thing when I was looking at Muerdeme's song there, I thought it was trying to be something that it really wasn't. It was almost trying to take off parts of Fuego from last year, whereas I actually think Velve offers something different. And just to align us even more, my second was Nunca Fe as well, which again I think would make a very good song if they were to send it, because I think it's quite anthemic. He really sings out, and it's quite likable actually as well. I quite enjoyed that.
So I've got 2 favourites, both ballads. One, I think I agree with most, is Noelia. I think that's a fantastic ballad, very powerful. But my favourite is María Muérdeme, and I also like the other ballad, Sibelia with Hoy Soner, which I think is a really, really good song. But I think coming back to my earlier point, I think Maria with Muérdeme, the up-tempo number, the Latin up-tempo number, is favourite. It's actually favourite and odds-on to win with the betting companies right now. Will probably win, but my pick would be Noelia or Sibelia. Is that right, Tristan? Sibelia Hoy Soner?
Yeah,
I pronounce that correctly?
Sabella. almost Sabela, hoy soñaré. Today I will
There you
dream.
go. You see, it's good to have somebody who can actually pronounce it properly. So let's go to the chat room. Let's see what some people have said.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tristan, go back to you first.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, just for Cyprus fans, Eleni is going to be the guest singer on the show on Sunday, and also a couple of you have mentioned Pastor Soler. She's going to be one of the guest in the expert panel discussing the song, so she might influence quite a lot Noelia's song when she gives her feedback, as indeed Sabella's song, which is also quite Pastora Solerish.
Thank you, Tristan. A couple of points, comments in the chat room. Claude has said, if anyone saw the other 7 options that didn't quite make it to the top 10 for the Spanish selection, are there any that you think should have made the cut instead? I'll go to you, Tristan, for that.
Oh, blimey, I wasn't ready for that. I'm just going to have to come back to me in a sec.
We'll come back to you with that one. I know you've got the answer somewhere. Orion says, I think that Maria has to go, and if not, Marilia or Miki. But we'll see the 18th if something will change. Something that people keep bringing back is if they want to go, who cares? Okay. I'm not sure if I've read that properly, but we'll come back. Miki and Maria and Carlos Wright are my favourites. I don't get what's so special with Muérdeme, and that's from Karins, who comes to us from Latvia. And Orion also says Muérdeme is the low malo that didn't make it last year. Spain hasn't said anything like that. That this is the perfect time to send it, and most of the ballads are being scratched because of last year. Yeah. Thank you for your comments. Non-related to Spain, Karen's also says, quick information. Today, the Lithuanian national final Heat 3 was filmed, and a song called Control-Alt-Delete, I think, made it through. Control-Alt-Delete. There you go.
Well, I'm going to watch that still.
Oh, sorry, Tristan. There we go.
Yeah, no, the result, mate.
Yeah, there you go. Don't have to listen to it now. Matthew Andrews has joined the chat. Has also said Maria says she doesn't want to go to Eurovision. Interesting piece of news. She might have to.
That's what's in the contract.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you take part.
Yeah.
You go into the big brother of Eurovision. That's what you get.
Just to answer your question, yes, there was one. Albarreche, que será luego. I thought that should have gone through, and in fact, it's a little bit of a shame that the expert jury didn't put it through, because it did actually quite well in the online televote. It came, I think, 6th in that televote. They put through lots of songs that in fact came 9th and 10th and 11th, in the televote, and they just completely ignored Albarreche. The other thing I will add is that there were 3 singers, Dave, Africa, and Alfonso, who had taken part in the Operación Triunfo, and they didn't have any songs given to them at all. I think in the case of Dave, that was a real mistake, because he has a great voice.
Thank you, Tristan.
Sorry.
And before we move on from Spain, what do we think of the performance of Alfred and Amaya last year? Did they deserve 23rd? Should they have done better? Yeah. I'll come to Joanne for this.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting them to be so low. However, I think by the time that Eurovision actually came along, people were sick of them. The fans were just sick of the story and the love, and I think it was just a little bit too much. Wasn't a good song either, to be honest. I still think La Mala should have won. I actually voted. I predicted they would win and not La Mala for some reason, but I did like La Mala better. Yeah, they deserved it. How about that then?
I was going to say, I think I'm just double checking my facts here. I think basically they got outdone by Lithuania, because Lithuania's song had a very similar vibe to it, and dare I say it, had a better performance to it as well.
More believable.
Yeah. And Lithuania came 12th. They came 23rd. The proof was in the pudding.
Yeah. And a similar comment by Karen's. They should have done better, but it was just a bit too much. Yeah, I would agree with that. I was never that confident they were going to do well in the first place, if I'm totally honest. There was a lot of stuff riding for them. A lot of people saying that they were going to be in the top 5, and I just never saw it. I never saw the love story like many saw, and it looked a bit forced to me. It looked a bit like they were two young people pulled together. You must be this couple that everyone wants you to be, and I'm sure I'm wrong. I'm not saying a conspiracy theory here that they weren't really a couple. Many have said that they weren't. I'm not saying that, but it didn't look true to me. That's all I would say on that matter. That's Spain. So I think we're basically saying that Maria's going to win, aren't we? I think we're saying that Maria's got a few shaking their heads. Maria's probably going to win. Yeah. Noelia is going to challenge, and they're the two of the three that qualified through the Operación Triunfo direct to the final. So you kind of expect that, really.